any day starting at 2 a.m. I'm the bomb of any delicious breakfast or lunch sandwich, but I also love a good spread. Of cream cheese, that is. Regular or wowed up. I even have gluten-free cousins.
Dine in or drive through, it's up to you. Come get your bagel on Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bagels and Beyond, 1384 Coffeen Avenue, Sheridan. 2 Bagels and Beyond.
I'm News Director Leslie Stratmon for SheridanMedia.com News. An inmate of the state's medium security prison in Torrington, formerly of Sheridan, has died. Douglas Howard Kraft, who was in his 5th year of a possible 20 to 50-year sentence for sexual exploitation and sexual abuse of a minor, died on Saturday. The announcement comes from Mark Horan of the Wyoming Department of Corrections. According to the release, Kraft was sentenced in 2011 in Campbell County Court to 6 to 8 years for sexual exploitation of a child, possession of pornography. Then a year later, out of the same court, for 2 counts of sexual abuse of a minor in the 1st degree and 1 count of sexual abuse of a minor in the 2nd degree. All sentences were to have been served consecutively. As per department policy, an autopsy has been ordered. No one was injured over the weekend in a fire that broke out at a cafe in downtown Sheridan, and the incident remains under investigation. Sheridan Fire and Rescue was called to the Silver Spur Cafe on Main Saturday night on a report of smoke coming from the building. That was indeed what firefighters saw upon arrival, according to Incident Commander George Neeson. Then they found the fire.
Good morning, I'm Steve Sisson. Trevor Jackson here as well. Nice to have you along as we kick off another week. Coming up today, we'll talk a bit about parents ruining another Easter egg hunt. Seems like it happens every year now. New news about Saturn's rings, a lot younger than scientists thought, and we'll introduce you to Mr. Parrot Man. That's coming up. We'll do a Florida update for you shortly. Stuff you need to know. We'll check the weekend box office and all the regular goodies on the way, including some great rock. We have 6 a.m. Motor Grater coming up, Muse, and right now Zach Brown, Heavy is the Head, as we start Monday, March 28th on 95.9 The Edge. Good morning, I'm Steve Sisson. Trevor Jackson here as well. Nice to have you along as we start up another week. Coming up today, we'll talk a bit about parents ruining another Easter egg hunt. Seems like it happens each year now. New news about Saturn's rings. Scientists have discovered they may be a lot younger than originally thought. We'll also introduce you to Mr. Parrot Man on the way a little bit later on. Our webcam is up and running. You can find a link to it on the radio menu at SheridanMedia.com by going to Z94FM. And if you want to reach us on the show today, the Concept Z studio line is 674-5999. You can call or text to reach us today. Bon Jovi, Collective Soul, Bad Company, all coming up. And right now, Jay Giles gets us started as we kick off March 28th on Z94FM.
Competition will be at the Jerry Campbell Invitational in Buffalo on Saturday. The Bronc and Lady Bronc spring tennis season begins with practice today. Spring golf will open up with practice next week. The shortened spring tennis season has 4 dates on it. They'll open up in Cody on April 9th. Spring golf opens with a tournament at Buffalo on the 8th. As spring sports season begins and gets into full swing, Sheridan High School Activities Director Don Julian says participation is up in all of their spring sports. And coming up in the next several weeks at the high school, they'll be filling the head basketball coaching vacancy in the Bronc program.
I think it is our responsibility to coach at a great level for success, but I don't think success is gauged just on how many games you win. Success is gauged on what you create in these kids, the relationships that you create, such that 5, 6, 7 years as you run into those guys, what are they now? And what impact did you have on them? And I think it's our responsibility to take that on. Granted, we want to win, and we want to win championships, but I think championships are won more by creating relationships than by creating hard play out of fear. I think there are coaches who coach using fear as a motivation. I think there are coaches who coach using relationship as motivation. And we're trying real hard here to hire coaches who are more relationship oriented.
And we're getting closer to the start of the baseball season. Sheridan Troopers and Jets 1 week away from opening their spring training. Officially, they'll open up outdoor camp next week. Head coach Ben Phillips says indoor facility and the workouts have been good attendance over the last several weeks, and it's even getting stronger.
It's a great opportunity for these guys to get started earlier than we have in the past. It's really good for our pitchers and a good way for us to increase our velocity with our fastballs and our arm strength and work on off speed before our official practice opens on April 4th. So we've got 4 batting cages in here. A lot of these guys have been doing this for the last 6 weeks, and I think that we'll be ready to go once the season starts up. We've had around 20 kids here on the nights that we're running these on Mondays and Thursdays. They're all pitchers. They're all throwing. It saves so much time when we start the season throwing bullpens. You know, we're all ready to go now, so we can focus on situational stuff, getting the kids used to ground balls and not waste an hour every night throwing bullpens. That's I'm kind of stressing everybody, whether you're a pitcher or not. Let's get here and let's throw off the mounds and let's just throw as hard as we can every Monday and Thursday just to increase our arms. That's kind of our weakness, which has been in the past, is we don't have any high velocity guys. So we're trying to create some guys that increase their velocity, their fastball, so we can get guys throwing in the 80s rather than the mid-70s.
Well, once practice starts on Monday, the Sheridan Jets will be the first team out of the chute to start their season. The Jets will open up with a doubleheader at the Billings Halos on April 16th. They'll be at home on the 17th as they play that home-and-home series with the Halos. The Troopers open at home. The opening day is April 30th against Rapid City Post 22. The Colorado Rockies will open up the Major League Baseball season a week from tonight with a 3-game series at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Our first live broadcast will be at 7 o'clock next week on Monday. All Rockies baseball games this season can be heard live on 87.7 FM ESPN Radio. Well, it got a little nutty in the Elite Eight of the NCAA basketball tournament as the Final Four is finally set. Syracuse, kind of unheralded as a 10 seed heading into the tournament in the Midwest region, is going to the Final Four. The Orange are the 4th double-digit seeded team in NCAA history to go to the Final Four. Syracuse rose to the occasion in shocking fashion. It looked like the Virginia Cavaliers were on their way. Syracuse down 54-39 midway through the second half before going on a stunning 29-8 run in the final 9.5 minutes. During one stretch, Syracuse scored 15 consecutive points. The final 68-62. After the game, Syracuse head coach Jim Boeheim said he has never been prouder of any team in his 40-year coaching career, and they are back in it again. Malachi Richardson scored 21 of his 23 in the second half. They will now take on the North Carolina Tar Heels on Saturday in one of the national semifinal games. The Heels, one of the number 1 seeds and the only number 1 in the Final Four, repelled the spirited Notre Dame comeback and beat the Irish 88-74. Tar Heels have built up an 11-point lead in that second half. That's a look at sports. I'm Trevor Jackson. You're up to date.
Loans help people when they need money. Sheridan Community Federal Credit Union makes loans. So does that mean Sheridan?
At least no one's going to get thrown.
Yeah, we'll hope not. All right. Our webcam is running. You can find a link to it on our radio menu at SheridanMedia.com. Just choose Z94FM or 95.9 The Edge. That'll put you into the live studio feed. If you want to reach us on the program today, you can call or text. The Concept Z studio line is 674-5999. Stuff you need to know coming up, and we'll also take a look at the weekend box office here in just a moment. First, let's take a look at what's going on in Florida.
Florida, we welcome you to the Sunshine State. They're kicking back and soaking up the rays every day in Florida.
So we have a 12-year-old girl facing misdemeanor battery charges because she pinched a boy's butt in between classes at school. She's 12.
There's got to be a mom involved.
Let's see what happened here. According to reports, Brianna Evans and her friends were just pinching random people at Milwee Middle School.
They're 12.
To see their reactions. Yeah. That's what a 12-year-old would probably do. She says it's a game a lot of students play, but one boy complained, and Brianna was suspended for socially unacceptable behavior. The boy told a school resource officer he didn't want to press charges. Then his mother got involved. There you go, Trevor.
Yeah.
You called it.
Feel the burn, idiot.
She got a hold of the police. She said she wanted Brianna prosecuted for battery. The girl was placed in a patrol car, hauled off to juvenile detention. Yeah, that'll work out. That'll work out well.
Nice.
Her father, Ray Evans, says the charges are extreme, crazy, and not the American way. Evans says the boy's mother is being too overprotective, and her son might get some friends if she loosened up about things.
Yep.
The state's attorney for the county says the charges against Brianna will be dropped and her record cleared if she completes a 90-day diversion program of classes and community services and passes drug tests. I hope a 12-year-old will pass the drug tests. I hope. I guess you can't count on it these days, but sounds to me like...
I have no comment to make because anything I would say would just be...
You'd need this button?
Would be against, FCC regulations, and I'm in too much of a bad mood today.
Well, we just won't even ask you for your comments.
Every adult in that situation should be beaten. Not pinched, beaten. I mean, all of them.
Every single one of them.
Teachers, cops, parents.
It's a ridiculous situation.
Yeah.
And, of course, it happened in Florida.
Every day in Florida.
All right.
Yeah, your son is a pussy now and has no friends ever.
Yeah.
And he will be living with you until you die.
And the girl's going to have a few issues too, probably.
Yeah, she'll be a hooker and a drug dealer, be on crack.
Yeah, this will ruin her. Time now for the stuff you need to know. Here's what's going on in the world. We'll bring you up to speed here. Apparently, the number crunchers say that Batman versus Superman needs to make $800 million just to break even.
Guess what? Doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
The reviews have been a little bit on the downside for that one.
I don't know the premise.
I don't either. I'm not into the superhero thing at all, though, so that's probably...
I like me some superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but...
Catwoman.
Yeah. You know, I saw the new Batman series, but I haven't been into any of the others. You know, the Avengers, the X-Men.
Yeah.
I just, so I don't know even. I don't know where this
I tried to
movie's
watch
coming from.
the new Avengers over the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I just couldn't get into it because I couldn't really figure out what the heck was going on.
Yeah. I'd need to read some comic books, I think, to get up to speed before I get into these movies. New stuff at the ballparks this year. Atlanta Braves will unleash the Burgeriza, a grilled 20-ounce beef patty covered with bacon and 5 slices of cheddar cheese and served between 2 8-inch pepperoni pizzas.
They serve defibrillator with that, too. They bring that to your seat.
They
You're
better.
going to need a jump start after you eat that.
They'd better. You're going to have to really do the 7th-inning stretch.
You're going to have a grabber, I can tell you that.
Rolling Stones played a free concert in Havana, Cuba on Friday because they can now, I guess.
Because it's Cuba.
Yeah. What else is going on? A proposal for a $15 an hour minimum wage is on the November California ballot.
Guess what? Ain't going to happen.
Well, we'll see. California.
That's okay. It's not part of the United States anymore.
It's its own separate country.
Yeah.
A study says that people who are prone to explosive bouts of rage could be infected by a parasite found in cat feces. Huh? Okay. That's pretty much every boss in the world then, isn't it?
Why are you eating that?
It doesn't say they ate it.
Oh.
But
how else would you?
I'm cleaning out the litter box. Maybe something you get it on your hands or something, and somehow it finds its way around. I don't know. There's a website called VoteTrumpGetDumped.com that's asking women not to sleep with Trump supporters. Yeah, well, I don't think that's really going to...
Our country is so stupid. And I'm going to throw myself into that. I mean, I'll be the president of the stupidest country in the world.
Still counting, like Volbeat says.
Yeah, still, but there's 330 million people.
Yeah, you got some more counting to do.
Yeah.
And there are more Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt divorce rumors swirling around out there, just so you know. And that's the stuff you need to know. Yep. Okay. So, Batman v Superman did make $424 million in its weekend worldwide. In North America, it made $170 million. It is the biggest superhero opening of all time. But what we've talked about before is I think a lot of people are not going to go back and see it again. The reviews have been a little iffy.
That's where they make a lot of money is when people start going back.
Yeah, like Star Wars. 6 of the top 10 movie openings of all time belong to superhero films. Here is where the Batman vs. Superman opening ranks. Star Wars The Force Awakens, number 1. I don't know if I consider that a superhero film. I don't know. Jurassic World is number 2. That's not a superhero film.
Nope.
The Avengers is.
Yep.
That's number 3. Avengers Age of Ultron is number 4. Iron Man 3 is number 5. Batman v Superman is number 6. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is number 7.
Superhero?
That's not a superhero film. Dark Knight Rises, yes. is number 8, Dark Knight is number 9, and Hunger Games Catching Fire number 10. So yeah, most of them are superhero films. But the biggest one is not. And neither is the second biggest one. This one probably will not do much better than it already is, I don't think. But yeah, it's already in the top 10, so not bad for the first weekend, I guess. Coming up, we'll take a look at the rest of the box office over the weekend. That's on the way.
Well, the annual St. Francis Animal Shelter fundraiser was held this past weekend.
Okay.
It's the annual shelter bake sale fundraiser.
Okay.
And it made over $300.
Hey. I'd take the $300 and put it in my pocket myself, but
what? That's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's a lot of work to raise $300.
For $300, just say, hey, you can walk around with a bucket in downtown Buffalo on a Saturday morning.
Just ask random people
with a sign that says donations for St. Francis. I bet you make more than $300 not doing anything.
You could probably just stand on a corner. Just find the right intersection. Yeah, $300 is not a whole lot of return for that. I heard the story about the Renew Disability Walk.
Oh, God.
They said several people turned out.
Yeah.
To
me, that means 12.
Yeah, that didn't sound real big. I think their problem was it was at the same time as Easter egg hunts going on. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get more people out there, you got to not conflict with that.
You got to pick a different day. Plus, I'd do it later in the year when the weather's a little bit nicer. Because if it's cold in the morning,
I can see why they're doing it in March because it's Disabilities Awareness Month. But
maybe they ought to just end the word to
spread the word.
I can never remember.
Spread the word to end the word.
Oh, spread the word to spell the word. I am not a retard.
Pass the word.
I gotta find that. I have to find that.
That's right. It is not okay.
It is not. I am not a retard.
Yeah.
Yes, you
That's
are.
a great ad.
It is the best ever.
While you're doing that, I'll get this going. On the way shortly, we'll check the news. Next hour, birthday board, calendar, and a complete look at the weather forecast. We did have some great weather yesterday, and actually pretty nice on Saturday, even though it was a little chilly in the breeze. But it does look like things are going to change a bit this week. We'll get you the details on the way. First, let's recap the weekend box office. We mentioned earlier that Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, was the biggest opener over the weekend by quite a long shot, $170 million, ahead of number 2, Zootopia, with $23.1 million. But Zootopia has been out for several weeks now. The only other new movie in the top 10 this weekend was My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, which made $18.1 million, putting it at number 3. There was a tie for number 4 and 5, Miracles from Heaven and the Divergent series Allegiant, both made $9.5 million this weekend. 10, Cloverfield Lane is at number 6, Deadpool number 7, London Has Fallen number 8, Hello, My Name is Doris number 9, and Eye in the Sky number 10. 1 year ago this week, the number 1 movie was Home. New movies coming out this weekend, God's Not Dead 2, and Meet the Blacks with Mike Tyson.
Okay.
That's what's coming up on Friday. On the way, we'll take a look at the news next.
It's not acceptable to call me a nigger.
It's not acceptable to call me a spick, to call me a chink.
To call me a fag. It's not acceptable to call me a tank.
It's not acceptable to call me a retard or call yourself or your friends retarded. They do something foolish.
Yeah.
The R word is the same as every minority slur.
The R word.
Treat it that way.
Just like the N word.
Spread the word to end the word.
I'm not a nigger.
It's not acceptable to call me a nigger.
It's not acceptable to call me a spick, to call me a chink.
To call me a fag. It's not acceptable to call me a tank.
It's not acceptable to call me a retard or call yourself or your friends retarded. They do something foolish.
Yeah. Yep. So you change the word, but not people's attitudes. That's just perfect liberal logic there.
Well, it's drawing attention.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's doing, yeah.
Okay.
Time now for the news you can use. Another Easter egg hunt messed up by parents. This year's sad egg hunt went down in Connecticut where an annual Easter 10,000 egg hunt had devolved into chaos after pushy parents rushed the field. Several parents were trampling over signs and shoving other participants at the annual hunt, causing chaos at the family-friendly event. One woman said an adult injured her grandchild's nose. Pez, the sponsor of the event, was particularly miffed by the parents' behavior. General manager at Pez said, "I take this personally. I don't want this to be a reflection of the brand. It was a fun thing up until this point." The company also commented on its Facebook event page about the chaos. Unfortunately, people chose to enter the first field prior to anyone from Pez staff starting the activity. The crowd moved to the second field, waited for only a couple of minutes, and proceeded to rush the field without being directed to do so. And before the posted start time, the crowd then immediately moved to the third field and took over and removed everything well before the activity was even to start.
Yeah,
wow.
That's what happened. And people,
it's ridiculous. It's the parents.
Exactly, and they just you can't have anything anymore.
You know, I took our daughter and her cousins and stuff to a hunt, and I gotta say, it was the nicest one we've ever been to. And all the ones around here have been pretty nice, but this one here was amazingly nice. The kids were. My daughter's in the 4 to 6 year old age group now, and all these kids were like, there's eggs scattered all around the field. You just got to go and grab as many as you can, right? That's kind of the idea. They were being selective. They were like picking up one, walking around, picking up another one, passing over a bunch of eggs. They were giving eggs to each other. It was amazing. It actually it boosted my confidence in the future of America just a little bit.
For an hour.
Yeah, then it's going to be ruined after I read this story here.
Yeah.
But
then you were welcome back to Earth.
Then I realized, oh yeah, we're not the norm.
No.
Your number for the day is 350 million. That is the number of Frisbees that have been sold since they were invented. 350 million.
I've owned a few.
Yeah, me too.
I don't personally have one now.
I have a small one for my daughter, but I don't have one for myself. They make some pretty fancy ones these days too, but I'm just not that into. I've never been very good at throwing them.
College is when I got into it.
Yeah, that was about the time that they were really big too. So, but 350 million, pretty good business. That's the news you can use. All right, birthday board. Yeah, I was surprised. They were passing over eggs. There's one girl putting eggs in other people's baskets.
I love it.
It was amazing. I couldn't stop laughing. Okay, birthdays. Although I've never been at an event where that many helium balloons left the ground and went up. I mean, there must have been 20 of them that were heading up to the outer space. It was just like every couple minutes, another one was going up. And they had a bouncy house, and oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Audrey loves the bouncy house.
All you need is a bouncy house.
Yeah, the kids are going crazy for that. Okay, here we go. All right, let's take a look at the birthday board, and we'll start with what happened on this date in history. It was in 1973 that Wilt Chamberlain retired from pro basketball. He'd played 1,045 games over 14 years. In 1979 in Pennsylvania, a pump in the reactor cooling system failed in the 3 Mile Island accident, resulting in the evaporation of some contaminated water, causing a nuclear meltdown. The nuclear industry in the U.S. has never really recovered from that event, I don't think. Fred Jipp was sentenced to 28 years in prison in Phoenix on this date in 1983 for fraud and bigamy. In 30 years, he had allegedly married 104 women in 28 countries. How do you keep that a secret?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, Robert Israe moved the Baltimore Colts football team to Indianapolis. That was on this date, 1984. It was on this date, 1986, that more than 6,000 radio stations of all formats played We Are the World simultaneously at 10:15 in the morning. Yes. That was a big hit in 1980.
Monster.
Yeah.
Monster.
Yes, it was. USA for Africa. Lyle Lovett and Julia Roberts announced they were separating after 21 months of marriage on this date in 1995. Shocking.
She sobered up.
Yeah, the hangover ended. On this date in 2014, third baseman Miguel Cabrera signed a 10-year contract with the Detroit Tigers for $292 million, exceeding the 10-year contract signed by Alex Rodriguez. And he, of course, signed that in 2007. Birthdays today, Diane West from Law & Order, and Hannah and her sister is also Footloose, 70 years old today. Salt of Salt and Peppa is 50. Vince Vaughn is 46. Kate Gosselin, 41. Julia Stiles from the Bourne movies, 35. And Lady Gaga is 30 years old today. Locally, we wish a happy birthday to George Williams and Kurt and Carlin King, celebrating birthdays today. Coming up, we'll check the forecast and the calendar still ahead. Okay. Do some wacky quickies here.
Watch the new Vacation movie.
Yeah? You know, I barely cracked a smile during the trailer, and I thought, you know, if this is the best...
It's gross.
Is it? Is it really?
It's disgusting.
Oh, they went that way, huh?
It's got some funny stuff, but it's absolutely... It's disgusting like Jackass.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Huh.
There's vomit.
Really?
Lots of puking, shitting.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
You know, the first one had the urine sandwiches.
No,
the pea-soaked sandwiches.
But this was just... It was gross. It had some funny lines in it, but it was just stupid.
Yeah, when I watched the trailer and I just kind of sort of barely smiled, I thought...
I mean, it had several funny bits in it, but... And then Chevy Chase was just, you know, at the end, they had them back at the very end.
Yeah.
Just a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Chevy Chase was like, just senile Alzheimer's guy. Just, not stupid Clark. Crazy ass dementia Clark.
Wow.
It was just kind of
So
weird.
they kind of took a dump on the whole series, huh?
Well, it's disgusting. You know, it's like when they end up going, they decide, you know, they're driving to Wally World.
Yeah.
And they want to go to some hot springs, and the line's too long. And so this homeless guy's like walking down the street, so they wave him over. Is there a shortcut to the hot springs? He goes, yeah, just take this dirt road. So they get off on this dirt road, and they go down, and they find the hot springs. And they all jump in with their swimming suits on. It's actually the...
Sewage treatment plant?
Yes, it's the sewer coming out of this thing. And they're rubbing shit all over their faces. Just, I mean, they got hands full of shit, and they're rubbing it all over. Yeah. And drinking the water. Yeah. It was just foul. I could barely watch that.
Wow. I didn't expect it to go that way.
And then they're at his sister's house, Audrey's house, and she's married to this total fucking whatever. I mean, the writers just were making shit up, and they're out. The guy has these prize steers that he raises, so he invites Clark to go out and round them up in the morning. So they're on four-wheelers, and Clark is just going crazy on this four-wheeler, and he hits one of them. And then, I mean, and so the next scene, he is just covered with guts and blood, and they're hosing him off with a hose. There's just fucking guts everywhere. He's covered from head to toe in just blood and guts. And you're just like, yeah, you're like...
I can see why it didn't stay around in theaters very long.
Yeah, it was just, you know. The one funny one was when the chick in the Ferrari pulls up next to him and gets fucking head on by a cement truck.
That's in the trailer, too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the two boys, the oldest boy is just a total puss, just a loser. And the youngest brother bullies him all the time. And he says fuck about 8,000 times. The little kid, he's about 10.
So I don't think there'll be a sequel of that then.
No, and Ed Helms just, you know, he has that he kind of has that, could be, but they didn't make him, he kind of switched in and out of character. Like he was Clark Griswold sometimes, you know, where he was really stupid and kind of oblivious to everything happening around him.
Yeah.
And then other times, so he was just kind of like, okay, is he he's not really a moron, but they tried to make him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to tell. So
see, the thing is, you got to like the guy. You have to like the guy and relate to him.
Well, see, that's the thing. Clark Griswold was likable.
Yeah, and you could kind of relate to him.
Yeah, because he was like he's clueless.
Right.
He just wanted to have a nice vacation.
Yeah, everyone's had a moment like that with their dad.
Yeah.
Not quite that extreme, but still.
Yeah. And I mean, they tried, but it just didn't work. And I think that's what happens with film. I mean, they couldn't redo Animal House either.
No.
There's certain comedies that have come out over the years that are so good that you can't really redo them.
Yeah, I have a feeling this new Ghostbusters is going to come and go quickly, too.
I know. You know, when Harold Ramis passed away, that just...
Yeah.
And not being able to get the original guys back.
Yeah.
They could have done a good job.
They could have, yeah. Yeah, I've seen the trailer for it, and I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't look that funny.
Comedy, it's hard because the good jokes are already gone.
It looks like this new one's going to be a lot of slapstick to me. So
I mean, my favorite thing from Ghostbusters was just one line from Dan Aykroyd. Yep. Stay puft Mark. And just the way he says it is so funny. Yeah. And they're just like, and you're like, oh. You know, stuff like that. I mean, those are good jokes. And the rest of it's just.
Well, I like the chemistry between those three guys.
Yes.
That worked out really well in that movie, too. So
see, that's why, like, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray were so good in Stripes.
Yeah.
You couldn't remake that.
No.
Because they were so good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, this new one, the trailer, I've seen it. It does, I don't know.
But you know what? They're going for the generation of fans
that have
no idea,
or at least they don't care about it. They don't have any fond memories of it.
Yeah, so the movie sucks.
But hey, it'll make some money.
I mean, Stripes is freaking priceless until the end, which gets really stupid.
Yeah, Stripes is good for about the first 3/4. The first two acts,
and then
are
it
good.
just doesn't. They don't finish it well. But God, the first hour and a half, the first hour,
all the training and all that's just great.
Is awesome.
Yeah. Sergeant Holka with the big toe.
Yeah, big toe. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole part's great. Yeah,
the whole meeting in the barracks, to me.
That's a great scene.
My favorite scene though is there's a couple when they're in the recruiting office. Are you homosexual? No, but we're willing to try.
Yeah.
And the other one, she's driving the cab and the lady's bitching at him, and he starts going, "Oh,
not killed! No,
we're going to be killed! Oh no, not killed!"
I wish I wouldn't have drank all that cough
syrup. I know. Oh no, not killed.
Winger, what kind of name is that?
Yeah. We're going to be killed! Oh no!
He pulls over.
Or the basketball out the window and he goes, "Hey, little help."
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yep. The opening of that, up until when they get and go into Russia, that's when it gets bad.
Yeah, then they have that, whatever
that big SUV or RV. It was an RV, yeah, with like armor plating on it.
Yeah, they just couldn't quite figure out how to finish it.
Yeah, it kind of turned out like this big action film at the end, and it didn't really work that well.
Because John Larroquette was great in it.
Yeah.
Watching all the chicks in the shower.
Yeah.
And all these little army men.
Yeah.
I mean, they just had some good... There were some really talented... I mean, John Candy was funny in it.
Yeah.
My name's Dewey Oxberger. My friends call me Ox.
Yep. And you had the mud wrestling scene. Which, I mean, every movie in the 80s had to have a scene like that.
Yes. You had to have girls and boobs.
There's gratuitous nudity in every great 80s movie. Yeah, you couldn't remake that movie now either, though. All right. Let's do some wacky quickies here. This is, we rounded up some kind of strange stories, weird stories from around the world, and they're kind of short, so we'll lump them all together here. After trying to steal a TV from a Walmart, an Ohio judge gave Craig Davenport two options. Go to jail for 30 days, or wear a sign saying, "I am a thief, I stole from Walmart." He chose the sign, so he's got to wear it in front of the store 8 hours a day for 10 days of his choosing. Would you pick that over jail? I don't know. That's a tough one. 30 days.
Jail? I don't know, man. I am just not the jail type.
I think 30 days in jail versus 10 days wearing the sign. I'm going to go with the sign.
Because I'm outside of Walmart. Most of those people can't read.
Yeah. That's true. They'll ignore you. They think you're trying to sell something.
Yeah.
They'll ignore you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think you did the right option there.
I'm just not a jail type, man. I don't think I could last. I mean, if the bar's slammed and I'm in like that orange jumpsuit, I would look like the Syracuse mascot if I wore an orange jumpsuit. I wouldn't last inside an hour before I'd be freaking out and screaming for my mommy.
Yeah? So you'd take the sign, too, for sure.
I think so.
Police in Pennsylvania say a woman stole $800 worth of electronic toothbrushes from a CVS pharmacy. Police still looking for her. Okay. $800. That's how much are those things? I guess
they're kind of expensive.
I guess you could pay $100 for one of those, so that could be 8. In the UK, an assistant principal is suing for $1 million after her school failed to replace a chair that made farting noises when she moved. The woman says she frequently had to apologize to parents, colleagues, and pupils. So
Get another chair!
So she's sitting in the chair.
You're the assistant principal. Thank you for coming in. Your son's.
Pardon me, it's not me, it's the chair. It's not me, it's the chair. She's sued for
$1 million.
$1 million because the school wouldn't replace that stupid chair. So I guess again, there's the option. Do you replace the chair for a few hundred, or you get sued for $1 million? I like them wear that chair, sit in that chair in the courtroom. Sure,
I can't wait till that shows up as evidence in the trial.
Yes, Exhibit A, the chair. We would like the
judge. Will you please sit in the chair?
All right, judgment in favor of just like that to be over. All right, we'll take a look at the calendar here next. Okay. So I mentioned earlier that scientists have maybe discovered something new about Saturn's rings and the fact that they are newer than they thought. It appears that they may have overestimated originally how old Saturn's rings and moons are by about 4 billion years or so, which I guess in celestial terms is not that big of a deal, but we missed her by 4 billion years. In fact, they say here the planet's rings and many of its 62 moons likely didn't form until the dinosaurs were around to see it happen, if they would have had telescopes to see it. Researchers from the SETI Institute measured changes in the orbits of Saturn's moons and rings caused by the tidal forces that they constantly exert on each other, created a computer model capable of mapping their histories. They figured out the orbits of the moons closer to the planet had not changed as much as would be expected had they formed along with the planet 4.5 billion years ago as previously believed. Conversely, the planet's rings were shifting too quickly to be that old. Instead, it's likely the moons and rings were created in the most recent 2% of Saturn's history about 100 million years ago when older moons circling the planet crashed into each other. Dinosaurs, of course, were around about 230 million years ago to 66 million years ago. So the dinosaurs would have been here at the time Saturn's rings and moons, as we know them, came to be. That is the latest from science. So now, Trevor, you've got to shift your entire outlook.
So that's the thing about science. You know, global climate change. Don't call it global warming anymore.
Right.
What if they're wrong? Because when I was a kid growing up, the next ice age was coming.
Yes, I remember that.
That was the big thing.
Everyone was worried about that.
When I was a kid, when I was in junior high, the ice age was coming, and we're all going to, be like cavemen, and then we're going to freeze to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Buried in the permafrost.
I remember that.
So,
and then it became the opposite of that.
Yeah, so now...
And now they've just kind of put the whole blanket over the whole thing and just call it climate change.
What if they're not right?
Well, climate is always changing.
They were wrong about Saturn for...
Well, they can't even figure out how many planets there are in the solar system. They can't really decide if there's 8 or 9, or maybe 10 now.
So I just think you have to use your common sense.
When you're measuring stuff that's billions of miles away, I guess there's a little room for error there.
Yeah.
And then how does it affect us here? Really not that much.
No. But you know what? You can answer Trivial Pursuit.
That's right. That means I got to throw out my 1986 edition of Trivial Pursuit.
Moops!
Yeah, that's right. Some of those
answers... It's the Mars, you bastard! Yep. Moops!
Then it starts deflating. Just all you see is the arm just going limp.
Take off your top.
Oh, God.
Nope, it says right here. Moops.
It's a misprint. I saw a great analysis of that show. Some guy had done one on YouTube, talking about how it was different from the other shows and that there was no redeeming moral. That no one learns a lesson at the end of the episode, like usually happens in most of those sitcoms up to that point.
Those people are like me.
Yeah,
It's like the fat guy getting robbed.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
That's a shame. He won't have any money to buy food.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah, he was talking about how it was always like The Family was the sitcom of the 50s, and then they moved from the home family to the work family with like Mary Tyler Moore, and then Cheers was still kind of a family thing, and there was still those sentimental moments, and still they're trying to reach some kind of nice conclusion. But in Seinfeld, they never did. They just threw that all out.
It's like the wheelchair with the handicapped lady, and at the end she's screaming down the hill, no brakes.
Someone told her a used wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that was priceless.
They took like some little tiny thing that happens to everybody, and they just amplified it, and that became the episode. And it was coincidence, like some coincidental thing, would trigger all kinds of problems.
That's why it was freaking brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, it's better than good. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that stuff was timeless too. That stuff will always be funny because everybody can relate to it.
I can watch it now and then just laugh my ass off. Another thing I've been watching like crazy is the old Andy Griffith shows.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, Don Knotts is a fucking genius. That character is so funny. It's one of the best characters of all time. It is absolutely. He is so funny to watch. His facial expressions and just that character is just so awesome. And the relationship they have, because he knows he's a moron, but they've been friends for life, and he just bails him out of all of his stupid shit. But he is brilliant, and that's that character.
I just have vague recollections. I don't have any real specific memories of that show.
Oh my God, I just like to watch the shows for that.
Yeah,
and it was always lessons to be learned. If the kid with Opie always learned.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all sitcoms were like that though back then.
But Barney Fife, that character is just, oh my God, he was brilliant. But Seinfeld, with all the characters they had, like Babu and all the recurring characters they would have, were so good.
Yeah, he's a very bad man.
Yeah, very bad man.
He's the finger.
Or the one guy that was named Joel Rifkin.
Yeah, that's right. That was the same as the serial killer.
Yeah. Crap like that. You're just like, and most people don't get that. They don't understand why that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a group of them that did, though. That show was...
Tim Watley turned into a Jew.
That's right, for the jokes.
It's just so funny that their sense of humor is just brilliant.
Yep.
Larry David, oh my God. I don't think he gets enough credit.
No, you can definitely see how much influence he had when you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I mean, it's just like watching a Seinfeld episode.
He was a big part of that show.
Because shit would just piss him off.
Yeah. And it's the same,
and he's just an ass.
And it's the same kind of idea, just some like coincidental thing.
Except the people retaliate on it.
Yeah.
Like the Girl Scouts come into his house, and he just pisses them off, and they end up just,
They trash his house. Is the one
where they trash his house.
Yeah. Yeah, and they put graffiti on it and all that.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same kind of idea though. Just like some coincidental thing will happen.
It was like Seinfeld on steroids when they jack the language up. Yeah.
Yep.
And the characters in that are brilliant. Like the dude's wife.
Yeah.
And then the one friend is Funkhauser.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The recurring people on that were just, oh my God.
It's kind of cool because they're kind of playing a different version of themselves, because they use their real names, and they're playing like just they're playing like just like a slightly altered version of themselves.
Like you could think about it. What I like about Curb Your Enthusiasm, you could see that happening.
Right.
Those things kind of happening to him, like in a donut shop, and all of a sudden they have a whole half hour of him. And all it started off was him going to get donuts. And it turns into just a frickin' war.
Yeah, show about nothing. Same kind of thing. Yep. All right, let's do rock news here. Time now for rock news. The Rolling Stones performed their first ever concert in Cuba on Friday. Video from that event has been posted online, so we'll link to them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sheridan Rock Radio. David Lee Roth explores the Chinese strategy game Go, among other topics, on his latest episode of The Roth Show. Roth's Ramblings, we call it. The program also includes a snippet of an unreleased song called Red Bull and Pop-Tarts. Sounds interesting. And ends with Roth's cover of the 2013 Pharrell Williams hit Happy. Wow. He covered all the bases in that one episode.
Got to check that one out. I want to see the...
We will
I want to see Happy.
We'll link it up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sheridan Rock Radio. That's where you'll be able to find that. Disturbed frontman David Draiman verbally attacked a rude fan for texting throughout one of the band's shows last week. During their gig in Dallas, Texas on March 23rd, Draiman turned his attention to a woman on the balcony of the House of Blues venue. His rant was captured on video. As you can imagine, there's a few F-bombs in it. So there's really no point in me trying to read it here.
Hey, you know what? You buy a ticket.
Yeah, why would you do that? And then why, if you're there at the show, enjoy the show.
You know, but on the cool side, though, there's a video of there's a kid at one of the shows last week. Like, I don't know, he looked like he was about 12 to me.
Yeah.
He was right on the rail, which surprised me. So he must have been there with parents.
Yeah.
And it was his first ever concert and was Disturbed. Draiman brought him up on stage.
Oh, wow.
Stopped the show. He got to wave at everybody and cheer, and everybody cheered for the kid, and then he went back down.
Best night of his life.
Exactly. So I thought that was kind of awesome, too.
That's
but you know what? If you buy a ticket, you can kind of do whatever you want.
I guess, but why would you not enjoy the show you paid for?
Well, maybe,
why would you be there?
You're texting your friend and saying, I'm at Disturbed, I'm all jacked up.
Probably Instagramming.
And then Draiman just blasts you. But, you know, at least you have a story to tell.
I guess.
That David Draiman went off on me.
Yeah, that was me he was yelling at. He stopped the whole show for me.
Yep.
Before he fronted Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Petty led a Florida band called Mudcrutch. They only recorded a few songs before splitting, but decades later, in 2008, they released a self-titled album that served both as their reunion and their debut. And today, they announced the follow-up. The new record called 2 will be out May 20th. We'll have some info. They're going to do like a little tour and stuff, too, I guess. We'll have some info of that on our Facebook page for you to enjoy as well. Last week in Seattle, Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder joined Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band on stage during the encore for a performance of Born in the USA classic Bobby Jean. Of course, the saxophone solo on the song is now handled by Jake Clemens, a nephew of the late Clarence Clemens. Jake recently told Radio.com that veteran singer-songwriter Glenn Hansard were instrumental in getting him back on stage after his uncle's passing. It's something that may be kind of hard to do. Sammy Hagar says he has no plans to follow up a recent birthday tweet to Eddie Van Halen because he senses it would be misinterpreted as more than a gesture of simply trying to reestablish a friendship. Prior to the January exchange, as Eddie turned 61, the pair had not been in touch for about 12 years following their reunion in 2004. They hadn't spoken since then. Hagar tells Rolling Stone it would be misinterpreted. Another way those guys think, oh, he wants something. He wants back in the band. He must be broke. I'm sorry, but unless they've changed drastically, which when I've talked to people that do know them, it sounds like they haven't changed at all, it would be misinterpreted. I also don't want to provoke that. That's not what I'm looking for in my life now. So he just wished him a happy birthday, and that's all there is to it. Nothing more than that. Metallica are streaming a 1984 live recording of their classic track Seek and Destroy, as featured on the upcoming deluxe edition of their 1983 debut album Kill 'Em All. The rare audio captures Metallica performing at JB's Rock in Middleton, New York, without their own equipment after it, along with their rental truck, was stolen during a blizzard in Boston the week before. The band says this was recorded at the first gig that we played after having our gear ripped off in January of '84. Anthrax was cool enough to lend us their equipment for the night. So, might be kind of a little piece of rock history there. And Rob Zombie will release his latest horror film, 31, on September 16th. Written and directed by him, the project sees Malcolm McDowell and Sherry Moon Zombie alongside a cast that includes Richard Brake, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, Jeff Daniel Phillips, and Meg Foster, among others. The film's official description reads, quote, "The day before Halloween, 5 carnival employees are kidnapped and held hostage in an isolated compound known as Murder World. On Halloween, they are thrown into a sadistic game called 31, where they must survive 12 hours against a gang of maniacs dressed like clowns." This sounds like Rob Zombie stuff.
It's the same actors.
Uh-huh.
The Sundance Film Festival review.
Uh-huh.
31 is Rob Zombie's The Running Man, is what it says.
Really?
And it says it is bloody gross.
Well, I can imagine. It's got clowns, and it's got Rob Zombie behind it, so, yeah. So we'll have more about that on our Facebook page if you're interested, facebook.com/Sheridan Rock Radio. There's your rock news.
It looks like this. It says 31 Rob Zombie's Running Man, and it works. A group touring performers, Sherry Moon Zombie, Meg Foster, Jeff Daniel Phillips, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, captured by game makers led by Malcolm McDowell, and they're killing blah, 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 on a fast-paced, violent, and fun blah, 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 blah. The violence is up to zombie standards, and you've got to respect that it looks like it looks real.
Yeah.
The actors are rigged to spew blood like it's supposed to. not lazy CGI blood added later.
Nice.
And there's also more than one occasion of naked women bloodied and brutalized.
The last one I saw of his was Devil's Rejects.
Oh shit!
And that was
that was wild.
That was yeah, it was.
The sheriff, man, that dude.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Any more horror movies? I mean, to me,
they got to get mental. They got to get inside your head. Otherwise, they don't work for me.
Hitchcock was so good.
Yep.
It's like it's not the thing that goes thump in the night; it's the bump.
That's right.
That makes you nervous. It's like Jaws.
Yeah.
The scary shit in Jaws, the scary shit is all before you see that sucker.
I think a lot of ways the limitations that they had back then actually made the movie
better.
Yep. Because now they can show the shark.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes all the fun out of it. All right, next one. We're going to do 9 songs in a row here shortly, but first, the leader of a London church fined for hosting noisy services at 3 o'clock in the morning has vowed to continue doing so. The Kingdom Church in Camberwell was fined almost $11,000 after causing sleepless nights for neighbors with loud preaching and amplified music from 3 to 5 a.m. every Saturday morning. The church's leader says the building is now soundproofed. Why are they doing services at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, that's what we're asking.
Well, he says that is the reason they do that is that's when the demons in the spiritual world are the most active.
So after the bars close?
Right.
When everyone's hammered.
You know, I will say that being on call for radio station problems, it seems like 3 o'clock in the morning is about the time. If a transmitter is going to go,
it's the 3 to 4 o'clock windows. You know well, and I know very well.
Well, if a transmitter is going to go boom, it seems like it happens at 3 o'clock more often than any other time.
So maybe they're onto something.
He may have a point there. 9 songs in a row on the way.
I must use the restroom.
Okay. There's Of Mice of Men. Would You Still Be There? We heard Five Finger Death Punch with their newest My Nemesis, and Foo Fighters too, Saint Cecilia.
Wyoming's classic rock is on Z94FM.
On the way shortly, we'll check the news. Next hour, birthday board, calendar, and a complete look at the weather forecast. We did have some great weather yesterday, and actually pretty nice on Saturday, even though it was just a little chilly in the breeze. But it does look like things are going to change a bit this week. We'll get you the details on the way. First, let's recap the weekend box office. We mentioned earlier that Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, was the biggest opener over the weekend by quite a long shot, $170 million, ahead of number 2, Zootopia, with $23.1 million. But Zootopia has been out for several weeks now. The only other new movie in the top 10 this weekend was My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, which made $18.1 million, putting it at number 3. There was a tie for number 4 and 5, Miracles from Heaven and the Divergent series Allegiant, both made $9.5 million this weekend. 10, Cloverfield Lane is at number 6, Deadpool number 7, London Has Fallen, number 8. Hello, My Name is Doris, number 9. And Eye in the Sky, number 10. 1 year ago this week, the number 1 movie was Home. New movies coming out this weekend, God's Not Dead 2, and Meet the Blacks with Mike Tyson.
Okay.
That's what's coming up on Friday. On the way, we'll take a look at the news next.
Wyoming's classic rock is on Z94FM.
Eat, drink, and be merry during the Forks, Corks, and Cakes Food and Wine Festival, April 8th and 9th in historic Deadwood. Eat and drink your way around town as you sample fine food, wine, and distinctive brews from all across the region. Festival passes are available online through Ticketmaster or by calling the Deadwood Mountain Grand Box Office at 605-559-1188. Forks, Corks, and Cakes, April 8th and 9th in historic Deadwood. Make it your great place in South Dakota.
Betty Bagel here. I reside at...
Yes, it does. All right, 2 more to go here. So a couple of Indiana bakeries share a love for 4-sided donuts, but one of them believes there's only room for one square donut maker in the town. Family Express is the name of the place, asked a court on Thursday to declare that it can continue to call its product Square Donuts. But Terre Haute-based Square Donuts, which has been making its donuts since the 1960s and has 9 locations, wants Family Express to cut it out. Family Express started making its version in 2005, and a year later, Square Donuts sent Family Express a cease and desist letter. This low-level disagreement fermented quietly for several years until Square Donuts in 2013 trademarked its name. Family Express contacted Square Donuts to try to reach an agreement over the name, but those talks went nowhere. Square Donuts. Big business out there. Square Donuts.
It's just gimmicky.
It is, yeah. But you got to find your little thing, and they've trademarked it. So I guess
whatever.
The late comer is doesn't have much of a leg to stand on, I don't think. Okay. Last story for the day. So, the man who went to great lengths to look like a parrot has now legally changed his name. 50-year-old Ted Richards is now Mr. Parrot Man. He spent many years and lots of money undergoing plastic surgery and tattooing in an effort to look like the birds he loves so much. His legal name is now Ted Parrotman. The parrot lover from Bristol, England said, "Because I walk around the streets with my parrots so much, around here I've been known as Ted Parrotman for years, so it only seems natural for me to change my name." How does his family feel about this, you may be wondering? Well, nobody knows. Ted says, "I've had contact with my mother and father for years because we really didn't get on. I don't even know if they're dead or alive. I also don't talk to my siblings anymore, so I felt no connection to having a family name." So Ted now has 110 tattoos, 50 piercings. He also has a split tongue. He also had both ears removed by a surgeon, his eyeballs dyed, and horns inserted, so he looks more like the birds.
Maybe that's why there's no family contact. You're crazy. How about that?
Teach his own. If he's happy being the parrot.
Hey, if you're happy, be happy. Hey,
have at it.
It's like the song, man. Because I'm happy.
Just be happy. That's it for the show today. I think we will easily find some stuff about Mr. Parrot Man. We'll stick it up on our Facebook page. You can find that at facebook.com/Sheridan Rock Radio. On-demand video on the radio menu at SheridanMedia.com by going to either Z94FM or 95.9 The Edge. And we will see you back here tomorrow morning.
What's new on SheridanWyoming.com? The site changes daily. Find out all the activities that take place throughout the year.
Showcasing the best of Sheridan with a warm welcome to Century 21 BHJ, Carpet Design, Powderhorn Realty, and Sheridan Realty Associates.
Just a few of our new partners on SheridanWyoming.com. Share it on Facebook. Share it with your family and friends. SheridanWyoming.com. Life along the Bighorns.
Visionary time, 7 o'clock. This is Z94FM, KZWY Sheridan. News this hour brought to us by First Federal Bank and Trust.
A new copier, an upgrade to your computer system, much needed equipment. In small business, it's all in a day's work. And a commercial loan from First Federal Bank and Trust will help you get the things you need without interrupting your cash flow. Contact Patrick Schilling or DJ Durkhorn today. First Federal Bank and Trust, commercial lending and leasing. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
4 people who were wounded in the Brussels bombings have died, raising the death toll to 35. Correspondent Clarissa Ward reports Belgian prosecutors have charged 3 more people in the attacks.
Main focus of the investigation, a man that Belgian authorities are only identifying as Faisal C. He is being charged with terrorist murder, indicating that he likely had a very central role.
In Lahore, Pakistan, on Easter Sunday, a Taliban splinter group staged a suicide bombing that killed 70 people. Correspondent Ravi Agrawal.
There was a playground right nearby. There was also an amusement park. So many of the people who were killed were actually young children, women as well. So Lahoris, Pakistanis waking up this morning and grieving as they realize the scale and scope of this attack.
California lawmakers have voted to raise the state's minimum wage from $10 to $15 an hour gradually. The raise taking full effect in 7 years. I'm Evan Haining.
This is Ed from Los Agaves, and at a customer's request, I have developed a lemon drop margarita. The new creation is just amazing. We use fresh squeezed lemon juice, silver tequila, and triple sec to create a sweet dessert margarita. Served traditionally in a shaker over ice and a sugar-rimmed glass. The lemon drop margarita, only at Los Agaves on Coffeen Avenue, Sheridan's Margarita headquarters.
I'm News Director Leslie Stratmon for SheridanMedia.com News. An inmate of the state's medium security prison in Torrington, formerly of Sheridan, has died. Douglas Howard Kraft, who was in his 5th year of a possible 20 to 50-year sentence for sexual exploitation and sexual abuse of a minor, died on Saturday. The announcement comes from Mark Horan of the Wyoming Department of Corrections. According to the release, Kraft was sentenced in 2011 in Campbell County Court to 6 to 8 years for sexual exploitation of a child, possession of pornography. Then a year later, out of the same court, for 2 counts of sexual abuse of a minor in the 1st degree and 1 count of sexual abuse of a minor in the 2nd degree. All sentences were to have been served consecutively. As per department policy, an autopsy has been ordered. No one was injured over the weekend in a fire that broke out at a cafe in downtown Sheridan, and the incident remains under investigation. Sheridan Fire and Rescue was called to the Silver Spur Cafe on Main Saturday night on a report of smoke coming from the building. That was indeed what firefighters saw upon arrival, according to Incident Commander George Neeson. Then they found the fire inside the restaurant. He said the Goose Valley Fire Department was called in for backup, and the blaze was brought under control within about 15 minutes. No one was inside the building at the time of the incident. No further information has been released. The Sheridan County Commissioners are currently accepting applications for openings on several different local boards. Commissioner Tom Ringley provided the details on what's needed.
We have 2 openings on the Sheridan County Planning and Zoning Board, and we have 2 seats on the Sheridan County Fulmer Public Library Board, and we'll have 1 seat on the Sheridan Memorial Hospital Board, and we have 2 seats on the Historic Preservation Board.
For details, go to SheridanMedia.com. I'm Leslie Stratmon for Sheridan Media News. You're up to date.
The Specialized Ride Out of Winter event has been extended at Backcountry Bike and Mountain Works. Save hundreds on a nice selection of Specialized bikes, as well as savings on equipment and accessories. The Specialized Ride Out of Winter sales event has been extended through April 19th. Don't miss out, happening now at Backcountry Bike and Mountain Works at 330 North Main Street in Sheridan. That's 330 North Main Street in Sheridan. Ride Out of Winter.
Edge of a Revolution, there's Nickelback. Billy Squire getting us started this hour, Lonely is the Night. I'm Steve Sisson, along with Trevor Jackson. Coming up this hour, we'll take a look at the forecast, birthday board, and calendar also on the way for you. And we have some wacky quickies coming up. Later on, turns out Saturn's rings may not be nearly as old as scientists thought. And we will introduce you to Mr. Parrotman coming up later on in the show. Rock news also on the way right now. Here's Disturbed, The Sound of Silence on 95.9 The Edge. I'm Steve Sisson along with Trevor Jackson. Still ahead of this hour, we have the birthday board, the calendar, a complete look at the forecast coming up. We'll do some wacky quickies for you as well. Later in the show, we'll have some rock news for you. We'll also have a story about scientists discovering that maybe Saturn's rings and moons are not as old as originally thought. And we will introduce you to Mr. Parrotman coming up later in the show. If you want to reach us this morning, you can call or text the Concept Z studio line, 674-5999. Call or text the studio to reach us this morning, and we'll keep some rock going for you right now. Led Zeppelin, Thank You, on Z94FM.
Up in all their spring sports, and coming up in the next few weeks at the high school, they'll be filling the head coaching basketball vacancy in the Sheridan Bronc program.
I think it is our responsibility to coach at a great level for success, but I don't think success is gauged just on how many games you win. Success is gauged on what you create in these kids, the relationships that you create, such that 5, 6, 7 years as you run into those guys, what are they now? And what impact did you have on them? And I think it's our responsibility to take that on. Granted, we want to win, and we want to win championships, but I think championships are won more by creating relationships than by creating hard play out of fear. I think there are coaches who coach using fear as a motivation. I think there are coaches who coach using relationship as motivation. And we're trying real hard here to hire coaches who are more relationship oriented.
In baseball, the Sheridan Jets and Troopers a week away from opening up their spring training officially. The Jets will open up their season with a home-and-home doubleheader against the Billings Halos. They'll be in Billings on April 16th, and then at home against the Halos on the 17th. For the Troopers, they'll open it up at home on April 30th against Rapid City Post 22. The Colorado Rockies open up their baseball season a week from today with a 3-game series at Arizona. Our first live broadcast will be at 7 o'clock. All Rockies baseball can be heard on 87.7 FM ESPN Radio. That's a look at sports. I'm Trevor Jackson. You're up to date.